Well, I cannot talk for everybody. I can talk for myself. We know that semifinals, the only where you play home and away, and I said, let's have Bradford home, even if they already beat Wigan and Arsenal. Let's have them, or even Villa, because in over 2 legs, I think we can. Not Chelsea in one game, we can beat them, but in 2 games, in a semi-final, they put everybody, all the best 11. It's even more difficult than beating Liverpool at Anfield in one game. Chelsea.
Sense of wished it was another team, so then it would have been in our heads an easier progress to the final. But nonetheless, again, going off of the back of beating, Liverpool and the bigger teams, I thought that we went there with great confidence, great pride.
Well, I remember the draw. I remember sitting and watching it, and then it was obviously Villa, Bradford and Chelsea, and my mentality was let's get Villa or Bradford to get a day out, which kind of took my eyes off the prize a little bit, because at that point I'm like, let's just get to Wembley and see what happens.
I remember after the game, after the Boros game at home that we won, when Hasselbaink picked the ball Chelsea, I remember Gary Mon in the training ground the day before, he said, warming up, Hasselbaink killed the dream.
If you get to a League Cup semi-final, you can't be anything but excited, and there's no point in fearing them sort of games. Yes, Chelsea are a world-class team, but again, the pressure's on them, and everyone expects Chelsea to roll us over and go to Wembley and probably pick up the cup, but we kind of used that to our advantage. It was sort of, everyone played with the shackles off, there was no pressure going into the game.
It was the toughest one, but at that point I thought, we were just that confident that we could beat anyone. We're doing well in the league, as I say. In the cup, it's like, okay, 180 minutes, 2 legs, goes to Stamford Bridge, trying to concede many, so then you have a chance at home.
Straight away I was fuming, because I was like, that's the hardest one. And I remember my agent saying straight away, couldn't be any better, because if you win this, you're probably favourites to then win the whole thing. And then from that moment on, in my head, I was like, okay, we've got one more obstacle, real big tough obstacle to get past, which was going to be difficult over 2 legs. But if we do get there, we're almost there. We've already done the hard bit. So going into the Chelsea game, especially the first leg away, it was like, okay, just keep yourself in a position to bring them back to Liberty, because we knew at the Liberty we could beat anyone.
To be honest, I think that game we were in a good period, I can remember, but it was always one of them where it was kind of like a free hit, really. It was Chelsea away. It was obviously a very tough game, so we were hoping to get any sort of result, but we were playing well, and once we got ahead, we felt pretty confident.
The first Michael Laudrup, he told me that he's gonna stick with me for the cup, and he's not gonna change the goalkeeper. That was very good feeling for me, because you see it a lot that once it goes to the semi-finals, then they change to the first choice goalkeeper again. And but I didn't think in this really. But then he came towards me and he said, like, you're gonna stay in the goal, I'm gonna stick with you. And that was very pleasing to know.
When we met in the players in the changing room, we said, okay, we're going to play with Chelsea. It's really difficult team, a top team with Rafa Benitez as a coach and players. Top players, then Hazard. In 2 legs, with the second leg at home, we know that we are confident and we could do it.
Again, I go back to the manager and how his mannerisms and his philosophy was. It wasn't, oh, we've got Chelsea. It was, look, here's the game plan. This is what we're going to do, and it's up to you to carry it out.
Kind of a bit of an iconic goal. Can remember it well, and we was doing well, but it's always a tough place to go, and I don't remember winning there ever before or after that game. I don't think so. It was tough. They had good players. We'd struggled a bit before against them, and when he scored, then that gave us something to hang on to. And I think defensively we was good, and we could keep the ball to kind of eat the clock down a little bit. So when he scored his first one, it was just what we needed at that time. And then it's the usual situation of, you know, not doing anything silly, trying to nick another one if possible, but just keeping it the same, because we felt like even with 1-0 or 0-0 coming back to Liberty, you know, it stood us in good stead to go through.
They give the ball away, Michino into the penalty area. He scored! Swansea City have the lead, and it's the marksman Michu who's put them ahead against the European champions at Stamford Bridge.
We were pressing so high, and Ivanovic could a mistake. I have a really good chance outside the area, and to be honest, when we scored this goal in the celebration, we talked because we were going to the halftime, and we talk in the corner celebrating the game, celebrating the goal, and I saw my teammates' eyes, and I felt that we have a chance to win the cup.
I remember him pouncing on the mistake, and it was an unbelievable finish at the near post. It's funny enough, Ross Turnbull was in goal, who was in my youth team at Middlesbrough back in the day. So, yeah, it was a great finish from Michu, and he was doing that all season long. He was brilliant for the football club that season.
Whenever you score, it's always a settling of nerves, you know, to get that kind of first blood, so to speak. You know, it was amazing for us, just to calm us down a little bit. We knew that obviously they'd apply pressure on top of that, but having a 1-0 lead, you know, it's kind of in your hands now. And the way we were playing football, I was confident that we could definitely come away with something in that game.
I was excited, probably a little bit angry, a bit of every bit of emotion really, and you know, to come on for 10 minutes in any game is hard, let alone it be the League Cup semi-final. So, you know, it was just, hopefully it was one of them, if, you know, defend from the front, close down, and if we do get a chance, and I get that chance, hopefully put it away, and it couldn't have worked out better in that short space of time I was on the field.
Board saying 3 minutes of added time left to play. Desmond Barr's been booked. Oh, back pass, Graham could be on here. Danny Graham, chances Swansea second. He scored! Swansea City will take a 2-0 lead to the Liberty Stadium against the champions of Europe. Graham, the substitute, has seized on another Chelsea error and has buried it into an empty net. What a scoreline at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Swansea City 2.
Jackpot. I knew the keeper was racing out as well, because I was walking that way, and the keeper there, I could see him, so I knew if I got that touch around him, then, you know, I'd be able to score. And you know, it was a great feeling to score at Stamford Bridge in the League Cup semi-final, and, you know, win the game as well.
Right in front of the fans.
Right in front of the fans, yeah, who went berserk. We had a good following down there, so, you know, it was a great result for them as well as it was for us.
Danny's one was huge. Danny's one basically gave us not the buffer, but, you know, a bit more comfort, because obviously one can be erased just one mistake, one piece of brilliance. Danny's one gave us a buffer, but again, you still have to play well, you still have to do your jobs, but to come away 2-0 at Stamford Bridge at any time is a fantastic result.
I think it was a defensive mistake as well that gave us that second goal, so for us, we knew that going back to the Liberty, we'd be in a good position.
But even if we won 2-0 there, we knew that in the second game in Swansea, they will come with everybody. Hazard and the rest, and it will be a long night.
Just pop it in behind Chelsea now, Swansea. Just kill the game off. There we go. That's the final whistle. The boos will be music to the ears of those Swansea City players. Not in their wildest dreams did they expect to take a 2-goal advantage back to the Liberty Stadium, but that's exactly what they've done.
I think as soon as the first leg is over, you don't want to wait 3 weeks. You want to play it as soon as possible. But ultimately we had another big competition still unfinished, which was the Premier League, and we wanted more points. And the fact, as I said, we had a very deep squad. Laudrup managed very well, giving minutes to everyone, and make sure the ones that played the second leg 3 weeks later were fresh and ready to face probably the toughest game in their career.
We were in a good position in the league. But we knew, they told me, Michael, we have to look at the 40 points. When we reach that, then we can be safe. Then less had been enough, but at that time, we're still looking for some points there. But I think we managed quite well in January. In that month, it was a good month. Also December, in the Christmas New Year program, was also well. Winning games, playing well, using a lot of players. We also played that was the worst part, if I can put that in as well, because in January we had to play FA Cup as well. And I remember we played Arsenal, and I said to Alan Curtis, Alan, we can win this game. We can lose this game. For God's sake, not a draw, so we have to play one more game in London. And we were 2-1 down. And in the last minute, we score the equalizer. And I was watching Alan and said, "Oh no, one more game in that January, in that month." And we went up there. I think we lost 1-0 because we changed 8 players because you could not play on all 3 horses. And I said, we are in second leg in the semi-final. We still need points in the league. We have to do it in this way, even if it was a big game playing against Arsenal.
We were doing great in the league, and everybody felt in the city that it's a good chance to win a trophy and 100 years for the club. So I remember it was difficult to concentrate in the Premier League games. Yeah,
slightly. Yeah, I think that because I'm sure we had a dip in form at that time in the league. So we were trying to get back on form with that, but we were doing so well in the cup as well. So it was hard to refocus, going back again and trying to kind of continue in the league position. But I mean, the cup games are something different. It's the atmosphere and just leading up to it. It's just, you just know it's a cup game rather than a league game.
It wasn't so much. It was the difficulty of that. It was more of the background noise around it. Little old Swansea, one step away from the final, this and that. So there was all the noise around it. But again, you're in the process of game after game after game. I think we had a lot of changes and rotation leading up to the second leg, which obviously culminated in the fact that we did lose quite heavily that day. I did give a penalty away. So yeah, not great memories at Anfield for that one. But yeah, obviously there was a lot of noise around it, but again, we had to do our job on the day.
Michu signed a 1-year contract extension on the day of the game. How vital was he for us that season?
That was one of the best seasons, one of the most enjoyable players to work with. I think to watch. So many people now come up to me and say, they always talk about, remember Michu. So no one's forgot him. And he was a good teammate to have, so chilled and laid back. And what a football player he was. And it was only this morning that I had to do my best 11 I played with and put him up front, because he was just, he had that season that was just, he just had different kind of qualities than we'd seen a lot in the Premier League.
Oh, Mitchell was just, one of those guys unique. You don't find many Mitchells, where he's one of those guys that comes to the club, again, humble, just, very chilled outside the pitch, crazy on the pitch. And he would just have that passion that is straight away connected with the fans and the team. And I think that's the type of players you want in your team. And, you know, he had one of those seasons where everything he touched went in the back of the net, you know, and the team had that confidence in him.
You know, him having that kind of season, and I love the fact that I could play with him as a false number 9 as well. He wasn't your typical striker. He could literally do anything. He could play in centre midfield, he could play in the hole, could play up top. So we had like a nice rotation system, which, you know, for me as a winger, it was amazing knowing that, you know, I could kind of drift anywhere and everywhere. That's what I love to do rather than having a specific position. You know, and he just loved playing 1-2s, and, you know, we do it in training all the time. So, you know, we had a good relationship, which did help.
So we knew we had a guy up front there who was on fire, who could always score a goal, and that he at the end he signed an extension was only the logic thing. They had to tie him in because they knew if they don't do it, he's gonna go to a different club.
He was something else that year. I don't think no one was prepared or was expecting the impact that he had. Not even the players. Hopefully the recruitment team and the staff and obviously the manager had aspirations, but for that year, he was just something else. Some of the finishes, some of his link-up play, how he understood how to play his role within our team. Like I said, we played some of the best football that I've been a part of that year, and he was a big part of that.
If you could talk about great timing, it's great timing, because maybe the fans, once they did not needed it because the game in itself was important enough. But I think that your most important player at that moment extend his contract. I think that was a boost for everybody.
The club with me was incredible. I just can't say thank you, and it was a really special day to sign the new contract, throw into the final.
Such a weird place to be, where you feel like half of you thinks you're there, and the other half is like you're only halfway, and you know that could turn around in the first 10 minutes of the next game. So it's a weird place to be. It's something that you just have to manage. It's the same as like if you're like 2-0 up at half time in a real game, you're kind of happy, or 3-0. Take the playoff final, for example. It's like you don't want to celebrate, but you can't help but thinking, oh, we've already done it. But then coming back, I think that game, the home game, we arguably played better than we did up at their place. I remember defensively, from a defensive point of view, it was probably one of the best games as a unit. I didn't ever feel like there was a certain determination that night that they weren't going to score.
It's a make it or break it, 2-0 lead at home in a cold night. You expect maybe a quiet atmosphere, but no, people were ready to it, you know. And then I think it's one of those nights where, cold or not, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to remember, and that's what we're here at.
Because the combination of semi-final, reaching out for the final, playing one of the biggest teams in England, with some of the best players, Eden Hazard is his best, and all that. That was a huge game.
It was tense because everybody understood the enormity of the situation, right? I mean, we're literally 90 minutes away from something uncomprehendable in our minds, right? So there was obviously tension and whatever, but it was about managing the game, you play games, sometimes you play them in stages, so the first 15, the next 15, get to half time, regroup and go again. And I think we did that quite well. We managed the game well that evening because we knew what was gonna come at us. We knew what Chelsea were gonna throw at us. It was how we could deal with the emotional side of it, the tactical side of it, and obviously the physical.
It would be difficult against Chelsea, and in this semi-final, the second leg, everybody did in the pitch all that it was inside, and for us with the draw 0-0. The last minutes, I enjoyed really the last 10 minutes. We see, okay, we're in the final. We are going to enjoy this game after the chance to win a title. For me, I could say that it was the the best game in the Liberty Stadium for this 100 year.
It was tense because it was, big decision, a stick or twist. Do you go for it and try and score and kill the tie, or do you sit back and wait? And I think we managed it really well. The atmosphere, we never felt the pressure of it. We felt that the fans were completely behind us the whole game. So it was, it was one of those games where you just felt that everything was going our way.
Obviously, there's bits and pieces that go for you at certain times. Certain boys that work in your favour, X, Y, Z. But again, we had to do the job on the pitch, and we did that.
Little touch by Hazard, wide towards Pulaqueta. Hazard makes the run, Spaniard can't control the ball. Chance for Torres to come on now. Really seems the last throw of the dice for Chelsea boss Rafa Benitez. What's happening on that point? Oh, there's a bit of a scuffle when I think the ball boy has been left on the deck by Eden Hazard to get the ball. Oh, and he's in some pain. Now the Swans fans are furious, and the ball boy looks absolutely disgusting with what happened. Hazard clearly felt there was he had to get involved, and the ball boy still down on the deck injured. I've never seen that in my life. It's a red card, is it, for Eden Hazard? It is, it's a red card for Eden Hazard.
Nothing. It never happened. To be honest with you, the only part I remember of it is he's on being laid down sort of towards the ball, and obviously Eden was trying to grab the ball and then knock the ball out of his grasp and whatever, but
yeah, Charlie with the ball. I don't know, I thought that he'd kicked him, so then obviously I wanted to go and see what was going on up there. I didn't expect him to be sent. I didn't even put it like the 2 and 2 together that if he had have kicked him, that you'd get sent off. But then when they went down to 10 men, then we knew that we was in an even stronger position, and that was the time you start to think like we're probably there.
In a game where you want everything as slow as possible, you want to manage the game, so it was a case of the ball goes to the ball boy and you're telling him to slow down, to take it easy, to not rush. And look, it was probably a bit silly what happened at the time, but look, in the game of football we were playing against 10 men going forward, so it definitely made things a lot easier for us.
I remember that I was talking with Peter Cech because he was the keeper in this game, and he told me they are going to put off Hazard because he did something. We don't know what's happened to Real, but he told me he's going to be sent off.
He did make it easy, of course he did. 20 laps, 10 minutes to go, 10 men against 11. We look at each other and say, look, just keep the ball a little bit, and we don't need to really make any risk, play, down the sides and make them run, draw fouls, and that was exactly it. It started from Charlie Morgan, obviously, causing that, and then after I think the whole team realized, this is nearly done now, so let's do those 10 minutes as well as we can.
But still, 10 minutes. If they score 1-0 in the 82nd minutes, you still have to play 8 plus extra, and it's enough. Well, look at the World Cup final. Exactly. Argentina already won, and then in 90 seconds, Mbappé scores 2 goals. So we were all up there because we were only 10 plus minutes away from going to the final. So it was first after I saw it, when I saw it on the telly, what happens, and yeah, it was not very nice to watch. But again, in a moment like that. But I think that Hazard, it was him. He apologized after, and I don't think anybody got hurt now.
Again, sometimes emotions in football, they obviously want to get back into the game. We obviously want to, slow the game down and keep it as tight as possible. But We owe Charlie a drink.
I think the message was clear that 10 years before that semi-final, the club were in a difficult place, you know, close to disappear. So 10 years later, you see yourself top 10 in the Premier League and the chance to go into a cup final, you know, major trophy. So I think everything comes into perception, consideration, and you realize that how much it means to the ones that have been following the club for so long. They've seen it all, you know, and these are the good times. So we got to give it to them and for ourselves. I don't think in that team at the time, many had achieved much. I think it was only Pablo played the Champions League and the national team. The rest were very much still trying to achieve something. So if you put everything together, you know, there is a reason why we wanted to get it.
It was massive, you know, and I think that all the fans and the supporters that were there at the time, you know, just couldn't believe our rise just kept going, you know, obviously from the playoffs to then, you know, and just our league positions that we were managing to get into. I think Swansea, you know, at that time were unplayable. I mean, you know, everyone used to call us Swanzalona. And that's why we were so confident. I think the way that we played and the way that we functioned as a team, you know, we were doing that against Arsenal, and you know, they were regarded as the passing team of that era. So you know, I knew that it meant a lot to the fans, and you know, it meant a lot to us. You know, to be able to play at Wembley again was amazing, and I just hope to score.
You know, you've got to sit here in absolute admiration.
Oh, what a tackle again by Michu on Frank Lampard. All eyes on Chris Foyno, he's enjoying it too much. On my watch, it's time now. The whistle goes. Swansea City are going to their first major trophy final at Wembley on their 100th birthday. Clear your diaries for February the 24th. The Swans are going to the Capital One Cup final. They've humbled, they've shamed the European champions. They did the damage at Stamford Bridge through Michu and Danny Graham. And tonight, they've just held it without a problem. They've coasted and they'll meet Bradford City in the final. And they pushed open a door to Europe. What a night for the Swans. Head to the penalty area, Michu shoots, it's safe, but Dyer has fallen up!
I remember turning and running all the way down the upper end to our fans.
Swansea City have won the Capital One Cup.